Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Deborah and I decided to make this video about tips and tricks and strategies to get through a fast when you're doing alternate day fasting. And I will preface this by saying I'm not a doctor, a nutritionist, a scientist. I'm not even an expert in fasting. But what I have gained through my experience is I've had to implement a lot of structure for me to be able to stick to this because it can get hard. It can get really challenging. I won't sugarcoat this at all because the majority of alternate day fasting, it's a mental game. And it starts with a foundation. And I believe that, I have built a really firm, solid foundation. I feel solid. And so I'm just going to share with you those things and some of the tips and strategies that I've used to be successful to where I am today. So yeah, I'm just going to jump in and share those as we go. So the first most important, the most important thing to do when building this alternate day fasting protocol for yourself is to know what your why is. It's like you have to get so solid with that. I've done so many different plans and programs and sometimes very impulsively. And I didn't have that I didn't actually know why. Like saying I wanted to lose weight is usually the reason why I would jump on something, but it wasn't enough to sustain or help me to follow through. So I highly recommend sitting down with yourself, and I've made a list of all the reasons why I want to do this. And, and one of the most important whys for me is to be my own support system, to be my own coach, to have my back, really. So I won't get into all of that, but that is my why. And so when things get hard, when things get challenging, I go back to that every time. It's the first thing I do is, why am I doing this? Because when it gets hard and the shit hits the fan and things are really, that spinning out kind of thing that can happen, that's the first place I go. The second thing is to surrender to that, surrender to the process, surrender to the challenge of it. And I'm talking about fasting days. I don't know if I made that clear right from the beginning. So in that fast days, and there are days when my fasts are like so they seem to flow so well. And, our bodies are changing dramatically over this experience. So, but when it's hard, it's hard. And so I find it just, they say what you resist persists. And it's so true with this. So when it gets really hard, I just surrender to that. I get really calm, and it takes the edge off. Like nothing else I have, and I use this in other areas of my life. Just surrender into it. And then I've also created this, what I call the no option zone. So I know that when I'm in my fast, from the minute it starts to the minute I know I'm going to break my fast, it's no option. I don't even let myself entertain anything other than I'm on this fast. Here's the protocol I've set up. Here's the structure I've built, and nothing else outside of that can play a part. So that has worked for me, because when I'm in the fast and things start to get like, oh my God, it's just, I keep my thinking, my structure around my mental participation in this super structured. And that's the other thing that leads me to that, is building structure. So for me, one of my goals is to remain consistent and follow through with that, because I've found when I close my eating, and this is just an example for me, when I close my eating window at 6 p.m. every day, by 6 p.m. on my fast days, it's like my body knows, yeah. Like, so if I'm experiencing hunger, it miraculously just dissipates at 6 o'clock. So I think that consistency can help with the really hard days when, especially because sometimes it can happen at 8 p.m. I've had it happen for me at 3 o'clock in the morning where I just wake up and I'm just like, oh my God. So those early mental reprogramming is the game. And doing those things is critical to your success, I believe. So that's the foundation. And then other things that have helped me are things like I watch motivational videos. Those motivational speakers where they have like this compilation of motivational people and it's like, you can do it. Don't give up, fight it. And those help me because it starts to, that it's a new film in your mind, a new thought pattern, because that's spinning out. If you let it take its whole, let it gain some momentum, it's so difficult. So that's part of what I'm saying is don't go there. I think that's critical. So those motivational, and also align yourself. Who are your heroes? Who are the people who have, for me, it's usually the underdog, somebody who's overcome so many odds and they've just pursued and been successful in whatever they were pursuing. Those are the things that you want to align yourself with. And then also, I think, for me, what I've found is really helpful is engaging in those moments where your fast is really hard and you need to, you've gotten solid with it, but then you need to do something or not, which I'll get to. But one of the things that's helped me is to engage in a creative pursuit. A lot of people journal, so it's, writing and things like that. I'm not a journaler. So, but I have been, and I know that can help. That's a very motivational thing. I believe in it. I just haven't done it. So, but what I've decided to do is to make videos as sort of my journaling. And my first intention was I wanted to document this because I totally believe that I will be successful, and I am successful. So I have those early videos to fall back on or to create new videos. And so for me, that's my creative pursuit. But I also have others, I'm also a knitter and a crocheter. So that's really helpful. Doing something with your hands, like holding a pen, can really at least consume some of the time during your fast if you're really struggling. And other things like art. I also do different forms of art. That's so helpful because you just get lost in that. You forget temporarily that you're, in some kind of a struggle. I also find tracking results, tracking whatever it is that resonates for you, but tracking your weight, your body measurements, your fat percentage, your muscle percentage, your progress pics, and really get creative with that and make it fun and a project that, and especially when you're fasting and you're working on those things, you're seeing visually, and that's what's rolling through your brain is, oh my God, I've accomplished all this stuff, Also, a vision board. I think sitting down, creating a vision board, especially in your early days, but it's something that I haven't done, but I really want to. I just need to find all these magazines and different things. Is a huge motivation in anything. So I highly recommend that, and any other hobbies that you love or make you feel good. I highly recommend that. And also learning something new, taking a course, I learned so much on YouTube. So when I want to learn something, for me with YouTube, I usually have to go through so many YouTube videos and figure out, every video gives you a certain amount of information, and you kind of put the puzzle pieces together for yourself. So that is a great creative thing to do. Then another really important one is a support system. And I see that broken down into two different things. So an internal support system and an external support system. And the most important one is your internal support system. So that is very self-oriented, supporting yourself, and even learning how to do that is amazing. Because if we rely solely on external support, I don't believe it's solid enough to carry us through. And it also has a huge potential to bring you out, like bail, or for a whole bunch of different reasons. And I'll just touch on a couple of those. But building an internal support system, it goes up with your why, your no option zone, all that kind of stuff. An external support system can be great if it's what you've aligned with. If you have like an ADF buddy, or you're part of an ADF group that really resonates with you and endorses the structure you've built and all that kind of stuff. But what I want to say is to be careful with that, because, like just recently, I shared with somebody what I was doing in this moment, because I'm fasting today, and it's been a bit of a struggle. And they're like, oh my God, you shouldn't do that. Or, you need to eat this and da da da. And it's coming from, I believe it's truly coming from a good intention place. But if I hadn't built all this other stuff, I could have went back with that and said, oh yeah, he's right. I got to eat. I got to do this. I got to do that. So, and other people too, for all different reasons, relying solely on an external support system, especially when you tell somebody who doesn't even understand what alternate day fasting is, or they just, it's something, and I've done it before, it can bring you down emotionally, psychologically, and just in those struggle moments, it's not conducive to your success, So, also things like an ADF coach or a mentor can be so helpful. And, there's a variety of those things out there. And just, personally understand what it is you need to set yourself up for success around those external support systems. Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is about just being careful with is exercise. And I've noticed this for myself, is that I really don't want to engage in hardcore physical exercise because it makes me hungry, and my brain is already conditioned, work out and then eat this, have a smoothie, or you should have protein, or you should have this. So that old conditioning is still there for me. And I don't like that feeling of thinking I might be doing something. So anyway, that's my stuff. But I also know physically, it doesn't feel great for me. But what I have been doing is stretching, really gentle stretching. And the great thing about that is you start to notice the changes that have happened to your body. At least I do. I feel like, oh my God, this is different. This has changed. This feels really good. So stuff like that, super beneficial. So just figure that out. But it's totally a self-evaluated thing. The other thing that I've noticed has helped, it's kind of two parts. Either and it goes under the category of pampering yourself. So you could just get yourself all dressed up, or, do your hair differently, do your makeup differently. That eats up a lot of time. And on the flip side, oftentimes what I do, if my schedule allows, I get my coziest pajamas and I get all comfy and cozy, and it's like, that little kid in me, I just, nurture that part, and that has helped me lots. So yeah, and every day is different. So, but that's a really helpful one. The other great things I find, and some people say, not to do this, whatever, but this is what's helped me, is to get lost in a movie, like a sappy girl love story, because I get caught up in the story, or I've been, on some of my fast days, I've binged watched a Netflix series, and then by the time so many hours have gone by, and this is just if this resonates for me, it has worked. Then I'm like, I've only got this much time to go, and that also brings me to this one. Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place. Is instead of looking at, I have a 40-hour fast ahead of me, I break that down into little chunks of time. Like, okay, I've got 2 hours until I need to do this. I can get through 2 hours of fasting. And then when that happens, I just say, oh, it's going to be 3 more hours till 6 o'clock. And then I know my body will relax a bit. That's a big one for me. And because I've created that pattern, that thinking, miraculously, when 6 o'clock comes around, it's usually gone. And there have been times when it hasn't. And then what I do is, if at 6 o'clock that hunger is still there, I say, oh, it's only like, a couple more hours till I go have a hot bath and get ready for bed. And then after that, it's like, oh, it's only an hour and a bit before I'm going to go to sleep. So what I'm saying is, yeah, you see how those little, breaking it up into chunks of time, is huge. It's been a huge success factor for me, because if I were to sit down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and be like, oh my God, this is so hard, and I have to now fast until tomorrow morning, that doesn't work for me. That will spin me out, because I'm like, sometimes it's minute by minute, sometimes you have to say, well, in 15 minutes, I'll give myself relief by doing this, staying within your no option zone of what you built yourself up to, because you don't want to start fantasizing about food or anything like that. Stay solid in your no option zone. Yeah, so, and reading a book, things like that. Also YouTube videos, especially on other people who are doing alternate day fasting. The only thing I would say to be careful with is, if you've created this structure where your fast is only water and coffee and tea, or whatever you've decided alternate day fasting is for you in terms of your fasting, I've noticed that when I watch other alternate day fasters who have a different structure or a different protocol where they allow themselves to eat or have different things included in their fast, it triggers me personally. So I don't watch some of those things or read things. So sometimes I'll go on a group and in the middle of my fast when I'm struggling, and I'll read, somebody struggled and then they gave up or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's like being in the airplane. You have to save yourself before you can save someone else. And there are times when I'm in the middle of my eating window and I see somebody struggling, I can offer support because I'm not struggling. I've put the oxygen mask on first, and then I can, at some later point, feel like I can be an encouragement to somebody else. But if someone's drowning and you feel like you're drowning, 2 drowning people, it's not gonna work. So just be careful of that, I say. And other things like have a really hot bath. So going back to that, if you break your fast into chunks of time, you know, between this time I'm going to go have a hot bath, or between these times I'm going to do my hair and makeup, or I'm going to stretch, like build some structure in terms of chunks of time. And then the really great one is sleep. Sleep will come. And, you know, because if you start your fast the night before, you're going to sleep for that amount of time, and then you're awake for X amount of time, and then eventually you go to bed during your fast and wake up, and then it's your eat day. So I don't know how to articulate how helpful that has been for me. Oh, and then also, I'm going to close this out. I know I talk and I'm like, my videos are long, but have a favorite cup for your fast days. Go buy some fancy, even like I have a fancy to-go cup, and I have my cup that I drink in my house, which is always with me. It makes me feel happy, and I always have lots of ice water. And so, yeah, have a fancy cup or a couple of fancy cups, you know, and make that investment in yourself and get creative with that. And then also, whatever you are allowing in your fasting window, if it's coffee or whatever, for me it's coffee, so I drink really good quality coffee, and water, and sparkling water, unflavored water. And I thought to myself the other day, like, I'm gonna go and buy some really fancy water. I mean, water now is like wine. Some water bottles, water bottling companies, like, it's really expensive. So, and I saw some at the grocery store that, like, whatever, they're like from France or, so I'm gonna start doing that. And then when I need a treat on my fast days, I can have these fancy waters, or high quality sparkling water, or mineral water. There's some really fancy waters out there that are nutritious and are within your protocol, whatever it is that you've set up. Same with tea. I don't drink tea, but I think it's important to stay away from flavored teas. But I mean, you can spend a pretty penny on some of these high quality teas out there. So whatever your jam is, have your like everyday stuff, but have those special ones for when stuff starts to get tough. Yeah, so I think that's it. I would love to hear, if you're watching this video and you have some tips that have worked for you, to share in the comments. And if you like this video, hit like. If you're interested, I'm going to do a whole bunch more content. So yeah, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. And I'm just sending everybody encouragement and blessings on this journey, because it is a hero's journey. And kudos to you if you're still on that path. All right, guys, take care.